Hi, I'm Jeff LeBard. I'm the winemaker here at the Gainey Vineyard. I've been with Gainey for 13 years, 10 of which I've been the winemaker for Gainey and Evans Ranch. I'd like to tell you a couple of the things that I really love about this brand and why it's so special to me. First and foremost, it's a small family owned and operated company, so we're all family here. Secondly, it's very agriculturally based. The Gaineys have always understood from a very early timeline in their succession that this was only ever going to be as good as the raw ingredients that they put into the grapes. Hence, you see, this is one of our beautiful 3 vineyards that we own. We have 3 different estate vineyards at Gainey. We have the home ranch that we refer to as the home ranch in the warm San Ynez Valley floor. That's where the tasting room, the event grounds, the production, that's headquarters. Which is home to our warmest climate vineyard. That's where we grow all of our warm Bordeaux varieties. So Cabernet Sauvignons, Merlots, Sauvignon Blanc, all those varieties grow terrific in that area. However, we can't force everything to grow on one property. It's not suitable for Pinot Noir and cool climate varieties to grow in a warmer climate. That's why the Gaineys, again, understanding fundamentally that we had to have the right vineyard properties for the right varieties and the right programs, have acquired 2 vineyards in the Santa Rita Hills appellation. We're currently standing at the top of our Evans Ranch vineyard. This is where we grow our Syrah, Chardonnay, and Pinot Noir. We have 2 vineyards in the Santa Rita Hills appellation. We're standing at the Evans Ranch property, but we also own another vineyard in the northwestern corridor, just over that away, called Rancho Esperanza. There's a couple of really cool things about Santa Rita Hills that I wanted to talk about. Number one, Santa Rita Hills is commonly known as one of the smallest but also one of the most sought after regions in North America for grape growing, specifically Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. Santa Rita Hills, well, I think what people maybe don't talk about as much is that Santa Rita Hills within itself, being that it's such a small range, it's also one of the most diverse ranges within itself. So if you look and you can see where we're standing right now, we are in the southeastern corridor of the Santa Rita Hills appellation. I don't know how well you can see it over the video, but from where we're standing down to the roadway is over 400 feet of elevation change. So we have quite a bit of gain. There's quite a bit of topography here. The mountain corridors are quite steep, and that gives us quite a topographical change from where we grow the Chardonnay all the way up to where we're standing now at the top of the hill, which is Morgan's Block in the Pinot Noir. The other vineyard in the northwestern corridor is Esperanza, as I said, and that vineyard is it's less slopey, so it has quite a bit less topographical elevation change to it. It's also got different soils. We're standing on clay loam right now, and that's predominantly the soil that's in the northwestern corridor. The southeast corridor. The northwest corridor of the Santa Rita Hills appellation is mostly sandy loam, and it's much more, if you imagine, like kind of sloping sand dunes almost. And that creates wines of a very different character and quality than does this appellation, or this corridor. So for us, it's really fantastic to be able to have vineyards in the bookends, literally the margins of one of the most diverse ranges in North America. It allows us to make wines from Evans Ranch and from Rancho Esperanza, and also importantly, for the limited select lineup of wines. So the limited Chardonnay, limited Pinot Noir, you're getting really a culmination of the entire appellation where we've encapsulated the really youthful, exuberant qualities that the wines that come from the northwestern corridor produce versus some of the more statured wines that come out of the southeast corridor. These wines tend to have a little bit more spine, they're a little bit more stood up. So when you blend those 2 wines together, you have something that both has brawn and elegance in the same bottle, and that's quite a rare quality to have. The mountain ranges that make up the Santa Rita Hills appellation are, so what we're standing on right now, what you can see in both directions, is the San Ynez mountain range. The northern corridor is what is considered to be the Purísima range. Again, lends itself to the diversity, so we're dealing with 2 different mountain ranges. Another really interesting thing about the Santa Rita Hills appellation is that these are the only coastal mountains in all of North America that actually run east and west instead of north and south. So if you look directly to the west, that's the Pacific Ocean out there. You can't see it because, like usual, there's quite a marine layer coming in actually as we speak, but that shows how much marine influence we actually get here, and the reason is because we don't have any natural barriers between this vineyard and the Pacific Ocean. Evans Ranch property is actually named after Dan's great-grandfather. So this is about a 125-acre vineyard, 54 acres of which is planted with, as I said, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and a little bit of Syrah. Welcome to Morgan's Vineyard. So we're standing right now in what we refer to as Morgan's Vineyard. Morgan's Vineyard actually encompasses all of Block 6 and Block 5. If you would like to see a better representation of that, don't hesitate to visit our website. We have a beautiful interactive map that you can go to, and it really does a great job of showing you exactly where all of these pieces are that we're visiting today and how they kind of all fold into the program. But I thought it would be appropriate to show you today one of my favorite clones to use for Morgan's. This is clone 667. It's on 10114 rootstock. So in general, up here on the higher elevations, we generally use low vigor rootstocks and Dijon clones. And the idea behind that is we're both trying to control the yields and also produce the longest growing season possible. So we want to promote the most hang time we can possibly get. 667 happens to be one of my favorite clones to work with in this section of the vineyard. And it's just because it produces a wine of such great intensity and just such great natural vibrant acidity that it's always kind of a shoe-in for that kind of Morgan's profile that we're looking for. So I thought it would be appropriate to show you these vines today. Welcome to the Lone Oak section of the Evans Ranch Vineyard, named after this here oak tree. You're probably asking yourself, why do you call it Lone Oak? Well, it's the only oak over here, so we like to call it Lone Oak. So speaking of our Lone Oak Syrah, I wanted to show you a clone that is consistent and always one of the top contenders for the Lone Oak Syrah. And that's our Estrella River clone Syrah. This Estrella River clone is such a reliable component for that wine because it makes a wine that has a really kind of juicy, fruity mouthfeel. It's also got a bit of size to it, but it's really soft in the mid palate, and it has a really great hit of that kind of white peppery nose that we've all come to know and love so much about cool climate Syrah, specifically for us from the Santa Rita Hills appellation. So this is our Caitlin's Vineyard. I wanted to show you two of the clones that predominantly make that wine up. So we're standing right now in the Hyde clone, and right next door to it is clone 4. Hyde and clone 4 work so well in this. So kind of some history behind those two clones. They're both clones that were developed in Wente, or they were developed, they're Wente clones, and they were developed in California. They were kind of developed to make this kind of richer style of Chardonnay. And so that's why we love these two clones so much, because we really can get a lot of richness and depth out of these clones. Also, if you'll notice, we're kind of standing in rows that are oriented east and west instead of north and south like the blocks we were up on earlier. If you look up at the top of the mountain up there, you can see kind of where we were at the peak of that up at Block 6 in Morgan's. But down here we're east and west. Well, why is that? Well, we actually are able, you can see it's a beautiful sunny day, we're actually able to get a lot of nice sun exposure on these clusters, and that again helps with getting some of those richer characteristics into that Chardonnay. So that's kind of why we use clones Hyde and 4 so much for the Caitlin Chardonnay program. So as I said, a lot of the grapes that we grow out here are actually for the Gainey limited selection program. But what the Evans Ranch brand really is it's 6 wines. It's 2 Chardonnays, it's 2 Pinot Noirs, and it's 2 Syrahs. We make those, they're very small quantities. It's 400 to 500 cases of each. They're made for our wine club. They get shipped out to our wine club, and that pretty much is the end of them. There's really not a lot left over at the end of it. So I get asked this question more times than any other question. And for those of you that know me and are watching this video, I want you to pay really close attention to this. So the question is, which one of these Evans Ranch wines is my favorite wine? Now, I'm thinking, if you know me, if you've been here, if we've ever spoken before, chances are you probably already asked that question. And I don't want to give you an underwhelming answer. So here it is. You ready for this? We all have our own favorite wines. However, I'm a winemaker, and these are all like my babies. So it's kind of like asking a parent who their favorite child is. We all have one, but we'll never admit it. So that concludes our vineyard tour today here at Evans Ranch. Thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. I just want to remind everybody out there, there is a ton of information on our website about all of the things we looked at today and discussed, and some really beautiful interactive maps. If you're unfamiliar with Evans Ranch, if this is kind of a new brand that you haven't seen before, just want to remind everybody, we have a tasting room in Los Olivos specifically for Evans Ranch, and don't forget to come visit us at our home ranch, which is again in the San Ynez Valley.